Good day. This is another live session of free international webinar brought to you by the Institute of Global Professionals, or IGP. Welcome, everyone. I am your host for this session. My name is Marbeth, a global member of IGP from the Philippines. It is my distinct honor to be your host for this session. I'm so excited for this occasion that we can convene virtually through this international free webinar brought to us by the Institute of Global Professionals. It is my pleasure to be with you once again in this virtual event. This event is another opportunity for learning and another milestone of growing for all of us. I'm proud to tell you that every day many new participants are joining with us. I would like to welcome all of the new participants to IGP's global family. With this, I am compelled to give you a little background about IGP. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institution which provides social work. We believe it is not effective to increase one's skills by just obtaining formal education. In accordance with IGP's mission, that is to empower people and hone their skills, we provide training and consultations to generate a proficient generation through webinars, trainings, offline and online courses with a highly competitive speakers and best and well-trained coaches from all across the globe so that we can cater you with the best learning platform. I'm proud to inform you that IGP is an ISO certified training and education institute. We are internationally recognized and globally accredited. Did you know that IGP is an award-winning institute with multiple records as most engaging e-learning platforms? Or e-learning platform? Yes, we are. Yes, IGP is your trusted platform to learn new things from the global leading leaders. We are the leading online skill development institution with thousands of learners worldwide. And most importantly, IGP is committed to serve. IGP is bringing the community of professionals to grow together and learn from each other. Here in IGP, learning never stops. We wish that you remain with us in this endeavor. I hope that everyone will stay with us until the end of the program because we have a lot of things in store for you today. Here in IGP webinars, you will not just listen to the speakers, but we appreciate your active engagement in the comment section. We encourage your participation in our live quiz competition, and we ask for your interaction and participation in the Q&A part of the program. In our live quiz competition, the top 10 participants will receive the quiz completion certificate. That is right after the live session. It will be posted a few minutes in our IGP's official page. After which is the Q&A part where everyone will have the chance to interact with our speakers by sending in your questions in the comment box. During our live show, there will be questions that will be displayed on your screen. This will keep you engaged all throughout the duration of the webinar. Simply send your idea in the comment section below. Every day during our live session, we award certificate of lifetime membership to the most active, enthusiastic, and consistent participant. So what are you waiting for? Share this live event to your friends and to your community and also in other social media forms such as LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter. Write comments and feedback in the comment section. Who knows, you could be the next recipient of IGP's lifetime membership. Please be informed that the e-certificate of this webinar will be provided to all the active participants. Before the end of the program, I will give you the certification code together with the certification process on how you can generate or auto-download your e-certificate. With this, everybody is encouraged to stay with us until the end of the program. Here in IGP International Webinar, lots of exciting things awaits us today. I am sure that all of us will have many takeaways and payoffs from this webinar. Only from IGP. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. I am so honored to welcome all of you to the Institute of Global Professionals Free International Webinar. Once again, I am Marbeth, a core volunteer of IGP from the Philippines. I am so privileged to host today's webinar At the same time, I will be one of your speakers for today. With this, I would like to say, let's watch together and learn together. We believe that the power is gained by sharing knowledge, not by hoarding it. And as of this afternoon, we have already successfully completed 717 webinars in various topics of your interest. All of these are available in our website, that is www.eduagp.com. Feel free to access them anytime. You may also check all recorded webinars anytime on our Facebook page, Facebook group, and YouTube channel. With this, we expect that all of you are getting a little bit benefited, both in your personal and professional life. From time to time, you may like, share, tag your friends, and write comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe in our YouTube channel and join the FB page and FB group. Please give a review in our Facebook page. To those who are with us in YouTube channel live streaming, make sure to click the bell button below to be notified with our live streaming every day. And those who have joined in our Facebook page and Facebook group, make sure to pin IGP's group and page so that you won't miss notifications of our live and upcoming webinars. It is my humble request for all of you to support us by spreading the news about IGP's free international webinar to your friends and to your community. This is the only way we can give back or show our appreciation for IGP. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And before proceeding to our program proper, allow me to greet some of our active participants. Hello to Ma'am Evelyn Mapari. She is our early bird today. And also we have Flomi Salvijo. And hi to Sir Alex Javier Alvarez. Hi to Hyacinth Dolorio. And then, hello, Ma'am Grace Castillo. Hi to Sandra Umpay. Hello to Maricar Lucenio. Josephine Tolentino, hello. Sheila Umpay again. Nitin Kuzagra. Ginaline Villar is with us. Joan Ignacio is with us also. Hi to Gianna Marie Madrigal. Hi again to Joan Ignacio and to Marites Ancheta. Hello to Nurfamad Alonto. Hello, Sir A.K. Adhikari. Hello to Norfasha Monadi. And also to Zoje Teta. I could hardly pronounce his name. Carmela and hi, ma'am. To Mi Hyang Pa, hello. Hello, Sir Joseph Navales plus Sir. Marpe Bedulo is with us. Thank you, Sir Joseph, for mentioning your friends. And also, we have Wakil Alam. Who else do we have here? Thank you, Sir AK, for being so active in our comment section. Leia Facunla is with us today. Sailami Villanueva is with us also. And we have here Futas Wagdi. Isaiah Kiangwi is with us. Hello, sir. Aldrin Ray is with us. We have so many participants today. Thank you so much, guys, for being so active in the comment section. Thank you to say AK, to Sir Joseph, and to everyone in the comment section. Thank you so much. And as usual, before I call our first speaker for today, I have a request to make for all of you. Please use your magic pointy. Use your magic pointy to click the share button. Can we do it? Please share our live streaming today at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I hope you did. Thank you so much. Let me know in the comment section if you did. Those who shared our live today, let me see it in the comment box. Okay? Thank you so much. And guys, utilize the comment box for your questions and feedback. I will be reading your questions from time to time. I will be reading the comment sections from time to time. Share us how you feel about IGP and how IGP is being helpful to you both in your personal and professional development. All of your comments will be is greatly appreciated, and all the queries will be addressed, will be answered by the IGP CSR team and IGP facilitating officers that is with us today. And happy learning, everyone. Without further ado, let's start the program with the IGP's mantra: feed your skills. Innovate, inspire, impact. For today, we are presenting webinar number 718 on new breed of teaching strategies. And today we have three eminent speakers from the Philippines. We have Sir Ricky Montano, Audrey Cortez PD, and yours truly, Marbet R. De La Cruz. For our first speaker, I would like to call on screen Sir Ricky C. Montano. Hello, Sir Ricky.
Hi, ma'am.
I hope you're doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm
You
ready.
may start sharing your screen.
All right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Before 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 going on with your discussion, you may also share something about yourself first.
Okay.
Then after that, you may proceed to your presentation.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Before I'm going to share my presentation this evening. Allow me to say something a little bit background of myself. Well, I am elementary English teacher here in Philippines, Addition Hills Integrated School from Mandaluyong City, and currently I've been teaching for 10 years, and also I am active on the field of research. So I have a published book in research also, and I hope that everyone here we learn together with the topic. And later, if you have some questions, you can ask it later on the Q&A part. All right. So let's start the presentation. So I have prepared my topic for today, and it is entitled um, how to teach anything to anyone online. Of course, I find this topic very um, very should I say very appropriate for the time that we're encountering nowadays, especially nowadays that we are in pandemic and everyone is really into online instructions. All right, so today we will be discussing and we will be defining the learning and teaching and how to teach effectively online, the affordances of the online teaching, and what are the constraints also of the online teaching. So basically, my discussion today will focus on the two major parts of teaching online. So we have the affordances and the constraints. All right, so let's start and let's define first what is learning. So according to this definition, at the biological level, learning is the process of adapting to our environment in ways that promote survival, which means that learning is the most important activity that any living thing can do, especially for us. We learn differently. We learn in the different learnings. We do have different learning style, but when it comes to learning, we make sure that it is for our own survival. We adapt on the different things. That's why as a human being, we should be flexible. We should be flexible, and that should be as a teacher. That should be applied also in our instructions. That our instructions should be flexible, whatever the situation may be, and whatever or whenever the environment will be. So we make sure that our instruction is flexible so that our students as well can easily adapt to the instructions that we are sharing to them or we are teaching to them. And according to this definition, that is learning. Now, what is teaching? We've been defining about learning. Now, what is teaching? So, teaching means arranging a series of events that promotes learning. Of course, teaching and learning are two inseparable things. We cannot separate teaching from learning and also learning from teaching because whenever there is teaching, of course there is learning. And of course, it could be very impossible to learn without teaching. And those are differences of the two. I mean, they are inseparable. Now, teaching means arranging a series of events that promote learning. So arrangement, it is the arrangement of external events to activate and support the internal process of learning. That is why, as a teacher, also as an educator, we must know also how to assess our learners when it comes to their prior knowledge so that we will be able to activate their learning, their learning capacity on that specific, like say for example, a specific subject matter that we are teaching. It's very important, and once we do that, we are now implementing or employing teaching among them. And of course, as I have said, whenever there is a teaching, of course there is learning. What does that imply for you in online teaching? Here are three definitions to remember. Now, first is that learning is the process of taking a new information through the brain's narrow doorway and processing it for a long-term storage. So, scientifically speaking, it is a process. All right. So of course, who is responsible in our body when we say learning and the process? Of course, the major responsible organ in our body is the brain. And according to this definition, learning is the process of taking in new information through the brain's narrow doorway and processing it for long-term storage. So that is why, if you are familiar, like experience is a best teacher, because whenever we experience it, we have the ability to store it in our self, store it in our brain, should I say, because it's based on our experience. Now, teaching means arranging a series of events in ways that support learning. Of course, that's very true. Like, we cannot, of course, we cannot arrange things if if we don't receive any instructions, we don't follow any instructions, or should I say teaching. So teaching means arranging a series of events in ways that support learning. Of course, we cannot teach, all right? We cannot just teach without expecting an outcomes from our teaching. Of course, when we teach, there is a learning. Therefore, teaching means arranging a series of events that support the processing and long-term storage of a new information. So, um, the whole process of teaching, all right, the whole process of teaching is leading us to the new information. And what is this information? Now, this is what we call learning. As you can see in the definition here that I have read, now, as what I have been saying a while ago, that the product or the output of teaching um should be learning. And this learning is what we call now the new information. Now, how to teach effectively online? Of course, as what I have said, like um this topic is I consider this topic as appropriate, especially nowadays, because we are or everyone is into online instruction. So if you're a teacher now, how could you teach, or how would you teach effectively online? So in exploring how to design online learning experiences that create the best conditions for learning, we need to factor in what makes the online learning space special and how it differs from the face-to-face learning space. Now, we need to consider that online learning and the traditional way of teaching. I mean, online teaching and the traditional way of teaching is different things. Like, we need, in order for us to adapt the current situation, we need to blend on the situation. Now, how are we going to blend with or blend on the situation? We need to factor in what makes it different from the ones that we used to do, from the ones that we used to teach inside the classroom. And this is merely the reason. So of course, for us to be an effective online teacher, we need to assess ourselves what are the things that we can do well online and what are the things that we need to improve online. So that by saying that we we will develop our should I say our strength and our weaknesses. And these weaknesses we can turn them into strength also by knowing how we can somewhat like we can improve them and finding ways of how we can improve them and how can we develop them. Now, know what you can and can't do well online. The questions we're exploring are first, how does the online learning space different from the classroom learning space? Of course, talking with the online and the traditional setup of our teaching, that's quite I mean too far difference. Okay, so because in online we see our student just like also in classroom setup we see our student, but the different things here, the different stuff here is that when we are teaching online we see them but we cannot touch them physically, but compared to the classroom setup. Now, how does the online learning space different from classroom learning space? Now, I think based on my opinion that teaching online you can explore, you can give more example like concrete examples, especially on my part that you know I am not very good in drawing. So during classroom setup I need to you know I need to cut draw materials or I need to get pictures first in order for me to show a concrete instructions for my students. Whereas during online, I can easily search pictures through different websites like Google, like what else YouTube. I can easily search on that different website and easily show to my students that this is the perfect picture, and that's you know the difference on my part. And also, when it comes to explanations and go further on more topic, of course, in an online with the limitations, of course, you can go beyond your topic. You can explore beyond your topic. Okay, and whereas in the classroom, you need to prepare for that. But you know, I'm not saying that it's limited, but you have to in order for you to discuss it further, to discuss it in detail, you need to prepare for that. But of course with limitations of time. Okay, so next is what can we do better in the online learning space that we can in the classroom. Now what can we do better in the online learning space that than we can do in the classroom, just like what I have said, right? So that in based on my opinion again, like in online and in the classroom, the time is more manageable in online space and online classroom because you can easily send the, the different online forms for your student to answer or to fill up the form while on the in the current while on the classroom setup you need to take it will take time for you to do that, like you have to write this and you have to wait for your student to finish it. But in the online classroom, once you click it and once you send it to them, and then automatically their responses to that forms will be generated, and all you have to do is to summarize it. I think it's already summarized, and then you have to print it, and that's it. Like the time is more manageable. You can do better because you can manage your time, unlike in the classroom. All right, so next is what can we do worse or not at all in the online learning space compared to the classroom learning environment? Do worse. I think okay, so I think on the side of a teacher, because you know we are expected to manage the class as the manager of the class. I think I haven't do worst things on my online class, but then the difference is that the I think that I can consider like in the classroom you can personally I mean you can personally advise your student, and then the 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 process could be like more intense and more intimate rather than online, because you know you just have to say it online, but then you are not sure if your student is receiving it properly, or if your students are receiving it wholeheartedly, should I say. But in the compared to the classroom setup, you are very sure because you can see their facial expression. You can tap their shoulders like that for some advices, for some piece of advice. So that's it. All right, so talking to the different things that we can do and we cannot do online, we are now leading to the core of our discussion, so which is all about the affordances and the constraints. Now, when we say affordances, these are the things that a design situations allows the teacher to do. So this is what we call affordances. Like in online, what are the things that you can do online? So you might say that I can be a great teacher because we can argue to that. We cannot put that into debate that uh, whether you are good in online or whether you are just for a classroom setup, because every one of us has we have different teaching strategies. All right, so it could be like you are very good in online, or you can be very good in the classroom setup, or you can be very good into both. So, well, anyway, going back, when we say affordances, the things that a design situations allows the teacher to do. So, especially nowadays online. So, maybe your answer is that I'm very good in using Canva for my online classes. I'm very good using Kahoot for my online classes, and so much more. Later, I'm going to show you another presentation about how are we going to teach our students, our learners online. Well, anyway, going back, that's affordances. Whereas when we say constraints, these are the things that a design or a design situation prevents the teacher from doing. So literally, without going into deeper about the constraints, we can easily identify what are our constraints in teaching online. Of course, here in Philippines, I should say that if you have to teach online, or if you are teaching online, you need to have a strong, reliable internet connections. But as of nowadays, I think it's very hard to find a very strong, reliable internet source or internet connections, and that could be one of my constraints in teaching online. Like it is preventing me to teach more than I can do because of that situation, of that constraints when it comes to internet connection. Like also, it could be on the literacy when it comes to technology. It could be one of the constraints also to some. Like we cannot deny the fact that there are some teachers nowadays that they are not good into technology, good into computer, good into online activity. So that's why, just like what I have said a while ago, like your weaknesses, you can turn your weaknesses into strength, or you can convert your weaknesses into strength by what? By identifying, by assessing yourself that you cannot do this, and then these are the things that I should do in order for me to convert this weakness into strength. Okay, well, going back, those are constraints. The things that preventing you from doing, the things outstandingly. Just like it's a hindrance for us to do things outstandingly. Okay, so next slide is that what does the online learning environment allow you to do better as a design instruction than the face-to-face learning environment? So based on the first situation, you can reach each of this unlimited number of people directly, especially if you are teaching online. Just like what I have said a while ago that teaching online is very easy. A you create a Google form, and then just one click you send it to different people, and then wait for their responses, and then generate the responses, and that's it. So as if you were talking to them one to one, because the face, or should I say the stage, or the manner of distributing of the instructions is through online. So you as yourself, you are talking to them individually. Excuse me. You can interact with your learners in a much closer and more personal way online than you could if you were teaching in a lecture hall or a classroom. So imagine if you are teaching a lecture hall composed of or made up of, say for example, like 50 students, and it's quite challenging for you to be talking to them one by one. So in online, you can do that. You can entertain as much, as many students as you can, because you have to be you have to sit in a corner and then doing like this, having your lecture, and then um, sending them the form or the link. So that's it. Your instruction could be more um, um, your instruction could be more clearer because it will be sent to them individually. So, and online environment allows your student to interact with the subject matter in very direct ways. Why direct? Because um, it's very specific. When you conduct your online classes, you have to you have to consider the span, the attention span of your student. We can deny the fact that on the online environment there are so many distractions. So you need to run you need to run for that attention span of your student. So that's why you have to maximize the time. So with that, you need to have a very specific instructions for them to easily understand and to easily catch their attention through the proper use of multimedia tools such as instructional videos and images. Now, in instructional media and images, I have read I have read one research that says our learners or students nowadays are very perceived learners, visual learners. They intend to believe on that picture rather than the story behind that picture. So I and you know I am convinced into that research because I have proven that one in my I mean all of my students, when you show picture to them, they can easily communicate with the picture without knowing what's the story behind the picture. Or it could be the reverse side. They can easily be motivated to listen to you if you have presented videos or lesson. And that's a concrete example of visual or perceived learners. Now, next is that online learning environment affords you to the ability to show your students anything you want. Of course, just like what I've said a while ago, like I'm not very good into drawing, but because of my online class, because of the online platform, I can show to my student the concrete pictures that our lesson telling them. Like this is the picture of the heart, this is the picture of this is the picture of a mango tree, this is a picture of a three-story house like that. So because of the online platform, I have to I the thing that I'm going to do is that I have to search through the different websites, and that's it. I can show to them the concrete pictures rather in the classroom that I need to draw, and that's they can probably interpret different things when I show it to them. All right, so online learning environment affords you to the ability to show your students anything you want, but it's up to you as a teacher to make good use of the affordance by designing your lesson so it shows your students the right things in that right way, in the right sequence, and at the right time. Of course, we teachers are the manager of the class, so we sit we see to it like we see to it that we need to set limitations for our classes. Like we need to consider also the learning capability of our learners. So it's not about showing pictures, but it's also considering if your interpretations, if the level of the competencies of your students could somewhat like correlate to the pictures that you're, say for example, to the pictures that you are going to show to them. So let's have the next slide, which is all about constraints. Now let's talk about what you can do well on what you can't do well online, and that's constraints. So here is the situation. The prize online instructors pay for being able to reach an unlimited number of students is not being physically present with those students in space and time. Now, removing the need to meet in a single space at a single time makes it possible to reach an unlimited number of students via online teaching, but also means that you, as an online teacher, can see your student directly and they can see the real you. And that's the constraint. All right. So, and especially on the what do you call this, the platform of the Google Meet. All right, that's, if you want if you want to entertain a lot of students, then you need to pay for a plan for, I mean, you need to pay a particular plan for the Google Meet, and then you can entertain students, you can record your classes for that. But then what if you don't have all the means to pay for that? So what will happen? And that will hinders you to perform your duty as an online teacher and to reach number of students, because you don't have the means to, I mean, you don't have any means to pay for the plan of the Google Meet. Now, this limitation can be lessened by holding meetings such as live hangouts and live video sessions, but then you run into other issues that are part of the online teaching situations, such as it could be your schedule conflicts and scalability issue. All right, here in the Philippines, of course, is just like what I have mentioned. Like, it's always the internet problem, and and the cost of the internet here is quite costly. So that's it. That's based on my opinion again. All right, so from a student's perspective, participating in a video conference or watching a recorded one does not have the same immediacy as attending an in person lecture, workshop, meeting, or class. It can be extremely boring and not at all useful to watch or listen to a recording of other people exchanging pleasantries and addressing questions that are not directly relevant to the subject matter or not of interest to your personally. What works in a live synchronous session may not work as well once a recording of the session is put online. That's why, as a teacher, here is my own point of view to this one. As a teacher, we are the manager of our class, so we make sure that before conducting our class, we make sure that we make sure always that whatever our instructions could be like somewhat like appropriate to the needs of our learners, and then the instruction should be well planned for our learners to not get bored during the discussion. And of course, I think we need to be more articulated on the lessons that we are doing online, because or else or else our students might find it boring, and they will suddenly leave the session hall or gym. Now, the issue of student privacy also must be considered if recordings or class sessions are put online. Sharing the replay of live class video may work well in this restricted space of a small live private class, but become problematic in a large evergreen course. And that's the common problem of online. Like, this thing could work specifically here, but then it might not work in some other cases. So again, it boils down into conclusion that as a teacher, we are manager, and we should like plan the the discussion ahead of time, so that we can lessen the situation or the problem during the discussion. All right, so constraints and what can you do well online? What can we do well online? So utilize a variety of technology options. We can do that. Now, we can do that by video conferencing, by video, screen capture, classroom management system, and assisting tools. Connect to students individually. So it is because it is extremely important to also meet the student individually. It can happen as a teacher, open hours and virtual resources for a student to log on and chat or message them if they have questions or concern. Or teachers can video call and check in with students the students every week or in two in order to make sure they are doing well. Now, with this, you are now somewhat like converting the things that you can do by doing this specific situation, by doing this specific suggestion. Now, you have to consider new learning methods. So, say for example, you have to create flip classroom styles. You need to fit the instructions that you've been using a while ago. Maybe it's not appropriate for your student. That's why preventing you to teach from teaching it's preventing you from teaching well to your class because you've been using the traditional method. So it's time for you not to shake your classroom and make it flipped, like flip classroom, apply flip classroom style. And also you need to somewhat like upgrade your strategy, teaching strategy by applying different teaching strategies. Like say for example the inquiry based learning mode strategy, and you can do that. Like as a teacher, we need to explore, we need to experiment until such time that we find the perfect blend for our class. And with that, thank you. And please allow me to share another slide, short slide, for 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 some of the ways on how we can teach online. Okay, so for a minute, all right, hold on. Okay, so actually we can utilize different online resources as digitized assessment tools, or we can teach them, we can use them in teaching online. So say for example, and the online resources. So in general, web pages and documents on their internet that provide useful information are known as online sources, while an online resource is typically data and educational in nature, and any support software available online can also be considered as a resource. So, before pandemic, online resources were already used by the teachers. So, ICT integration is a common thing in the rating tool that we use to that teachers are being rated. So these are the benefits of using online resources. First is that makes learning fun, can supplement basic skills to allow students to learn, offer convenience, learners can use chat rooms, games, and competitive tools, and allow students to experience the culture in a variety of ways because we have varied ideas and strategies that they can enjoy while using the online resources. All right, so these are the things that we can do during our normal class. That's it. But suddenly it changes when the pandemic happened. So we used the online resources to teach. So we have the Puzzle Maker example is a puzzle generation tool for teachers, students, and parents. Now, teachers by this puzzle maker can create and print customized word search, crisscross, math puzzles, and more using your own words list. You can create your own words. You have the Rebus generator, just like in the picture. So you can create your own Rebus puzzle using free online Rebus Maker. Simply, you have to enter the word or phrase in English, and instantly Rebus puzzle is made. So you have the Clock Rain machine, an online Clock Rain machines that reveals your randomly generated answers in a fun and effective way. The Claw machine is a great way to generate your names, words, and numbers, and give it a go in your next class. Of course, we need to be very innovative when it comes to implementing our online class in our online class because students will find it boring if we will not inject some of innovative ways that we have. We can use emoji race timer. Now, this timer is a random race of emojis to win a balloon in a random manner. Now, of course, you have to modify this one. This material can be modified depending on your lessons or activity. Of course, the Nearpad. Nearpad is an online tool that allows teachers to use slide-based teaching both in the classroom and remotely. thanks to the hybrid layout. Teachers can create lots of different interactive learning resources that allow students to generate and learn via their device or a single screen in the room. Of course, you have Kahoot. I know everybody everyone is familiar with this. Kahoot is an online game-based learning platform. It allows teachers, organization, and parents to set up fun-based learning for students and others. Now, Kahoot can be used as a fun trivia activity to do with the members of your class or students to use with a series of fun and essential questions. You can have this image picker wheel. So of course it's a special random image generator to pick a random picture from a list of pictures provided by using a wheel. So example, you have the different images that we want to convey. So instead of presenting it to the class, the picture, and why not use this image picker? And then after the picture flash on the screen or pitch, you have to ask questions. It's a matter of it's a matter of innovating or modifying the instructions. You have the Mentimeter for a quiz, or if you have quizzes, you can use this. The word wall. So there is a way to create your own teaching resources. Make custom activities for your classroom, like you have the quizzes, match up word games, and much more. So I think, all right. So I think that's the end of my discussion, and I hope that you learned something from my discussion. Thank you, and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sir Ricky, for that wonderful presentation and for those online tools that you have shared to us this evening. And we'll see you again in the Q&A part of the program. Okay, thank you so much. At this juncture, I would like to call on screen speaker, none other than Sir Audric Curtis, PD.
Hello. Hello. So, good day, everyone. Good day to everyone in this world. So, our topic for today is utilizing Google Meet in conducting meetings with parents and students. So, to the new viewers here, allow me to introduce myself briefly. So, I took up Bachelor of Secondary Education in Mathematics at De La Salle University from 2009 to 2012, and Masters of Science in Teaching major in Mathematics at the same institution from 2013 to 2018. I passed the licensure examination for teachers last 2013 here in the Philippines, and I currently have 6 years of teaching experience. I specialize in mathematics and research. Okay, so allow me to discuss what are the purposes of Google Meet. Okay, Google Meet is one of the online learning platforms that is commonly used in online learning, especially during online classes. Why do we need to use the Google Meet? Because students and teachers were forbidden to have face-to-face classes due to the outbreak of the COVID, so they had decided to use the Google Meet. So allow me to discuss the benefits of Google Meet. Okay, so Google Meet allows people to make live virtual conferences. So instead of going to a venue wherein they're going to have a face-to-face meeting, they have decided to conduct a Google Meet so they can be able to have virtual meetings despite of not having to attend face-to-face meetings. Then aside from it, they can chat with participants through messaging or video chatting. They can also present various presentations such as pictures and videos. So these are not limited to those. Okay, so when teachers present, they use the PowerPoint slides to show their presentations to the virtual viewers. And when students present their work, they also use PowerPoint and Google Meet so they can be able to present their work to the teachers so the teachers will be able to evaluate. So Google Meet also helps the teachers to evaluate their students' work and they also help the students to collaborate in terms of tasks, and they can also communicate with teachers without having to go to school or making phone calls. So Google Meet can be also used anywhere, and it can be also used through any gadget of choice. Okay, so allow me to cite each of the positive effects of Google Meet. So why is it costless in terms of expenses? Because when we go to meetings or classes, we spend money on buying food, or commuting, using taxis, tricycles, or trains, just for us to go to a specific venue where we will be having classes and meeting. So, however, when we use Google Meet, we don't need to pay anything, so we can be able to have classes, so we can be able to have meetings. So, all we can do is just to prepare a lot of online learning materials and the Google Meet link. Unlike in face to face, we were required to buy books, prepare notebooks, buy chalk, buy markers, and even wear uniforms in going to schools. But in online, we do not need those writing materials such as chalks and whiteboard markers, and we do not need to spend money in buying chalks and whiteboard markers when it comes to class discussions. We do not need to commute, we do not need to focus on expenses. And another thing, it is also convenient because Google Meet can be learned at home. Google Meet can be used anytime, anywhere, like what I said a while ago. And students can attend classes anywhere without having to meet their teachers physically, and they do not need to meet with their classmates physically. So that is how convenient the Google Meet is. And another thing is Google Meet also allows the teachers to present their lessons using their own choice of gadgets. Google Meet is accessible because it can be used through laptops, tablets, smartphones, and other gadgets as long as teachers and students have good internet connection. Google Meet also allows the teachers and learners to commit flexible learning because students and teachers can actually record the Google Meet. However, the record button is no longer featured for free Google Meet. So, and besides, students can also screenshot the lecture notes presented by their teachers when they are attending online classes, and teachers can also send their recorded Google Meet link with their students, so the students will be able to recall the discussion, so the students will be able to take notes when they do not understand from their initial attendance with that Google Meet session. And another thing is Google Meet also fosters time management. Why why it fosters time management? Because it avoids time consumption in some aspects. For example, when students go to school, they spend time looking for transportations to commute. They spend time grooming themselves so they can be prepared in going to school. They need to prepare their books. They need to prepare their notebooks. They need to prepare everything that is needed for them to go to school. And teachers need to spend time preparing their materials as well. But in Google Meet, all they can do is just to prepare their learning materials at home, and they do not need to spend time going to the school, so they can be able to have classes. So all they can do is just to use their Google Meet. Okay, so allow me to discuss the basic steps of using Google Meet, or let's say fundamentals. Okay, so first of all, when the speaker is speaking, it is best for each of the audience to mute by pressing the mute button, to observe silence and to observe respect because Google Meet is a place where we communicate. However, silence must still be observed when they're having online classes to avoid some noises, to avoid some distractions during the class. Another thing is if anyone has anything to say or ask, message first, because it would be rude for the speakers or the participants if they're going to unmute themselves, then they're going to speak immediately, or to, let's say, they're going to interrupt. So to perform or to preserve some ethics, the participant should message first. He or she should ask permission, like like in school, when we'll be going to the CR, we need to ask permission first to the teacher. When we need to speak, we need to raise our hands or to ask a question first. But here in Google Meet, we need to leave a message first to the host before we will be given an opportunity to speak. Okay, the alternate way is to raise hand. So when we raise hand, it means to say we want anything to say. We want to say anything, we want to participate, we want to give our insights, we want to give our opinions. If the host does not notice the raised hand, it is better to press the raise your hand button repeatedly so he or she will be able to see that you had raised your hand. If you want to present, we need to share your screen by pressing the present now, because when we click the present now, it enables the viewers to see what we present in terms of our photos, in terms of our PowerPoint slides, in terms of our documents, in terms of our videos. So why do we need to share our screen when we're going to discuss? Because as a teacher, we need to impart our information and our knowledge to our students. And as a student, students need to present their work so they will be able to see what can be their improvements for the work. Let's say, for example, when in inquiries, investigations, and immersions, a group of students, or let's say a student, is required to present his or her research paper and a PowerPoint slide so he or she could be able to defend his paper, or and so the panelists will be able to see what can how can the paper improve. And this is also used, the present your screen is also applied in meeting with the parents. For example, the teacher is going to present the policies and the protocols during the parent teacher conference. So going back to this, so in the parents teacher conference, sometimes the parents want to speak up about their concerns about their students. If they really need to say anything, they need to ask or message first by posting a message in the message box or the chat box, or to raise hand. So and as a host, or let's say as a presenter, he should also regard the participants' efforts to raise their hand, to promote a healthy communication, and to promote also an effective way of communicating. So here, going back in the parents teachers conference, parents and students mute when they have nothing to say. When the presenter is discussing, they need to stay muted to avoid some distractions. If you want to write what you want to discuss, use whiteboard. This is commonly used by math and science teachers because math and science both involve computing. When we say science, there are physics, chemistry, and biology. So that virtual whiteboard serves as the whiteboard in the new normal. Okay, so allow me to discuss each of the ethics. So, why do we need to preserve ethics? Because as a teacher, we need to be a good example to each of the students and the parents, even though we're in the online setting. Why? Because we need to mold each of the students and we need to teach them proper values. So, being in an online setting doesn't mean that we are free to do what we want. Still, as a teacher, we still need to be responsible on practicing ethics and to observe teaching practices even though we use Google Meet. Okay, so I will name a few in terms of our ethics. So first of all, we should not unmute until the speaker asks us to speak, question, or answer. Why? Because when we mute, we practice respect, we observe silence, and we give the speaker the opportunity to present, and it also helps us to promote patience. Because when we unmute during the discussion proper or the meeting, we have a tendency to make unnecessary noise or distractions which can interrupt during the meeting. So this is applicable in teacher-student classes and parent-teacher conferences and meeting for teachers and the administrators. So this is a very, very common practice that people should practice, that they should keep muted until they are given a chance to speak. So I will give an addition. So before unmuting, we should raise our hands or to message so the speaker will be able to call our attention. We can speak once the host in the Google Meet calls our attention. Second ethic. Okay. So we are given the freedom of speech. We can say whatever we think, but however, we still need to be extra careful in delivering our language, whether in face to face or online, whether in Google Meet or let's say physical classrooms. So we need to avoid any offensive or nonsense language during this discussion and meeting proper, because any offensive or nonsense language can cause massive distractions in any class. And as a teacher or as a student or as a parent, we need to promote healthy communication even though the way of communicating is online. Ethic number three, when presenting lessons, when showing any content for the sake of giving information, we need to avoid any sensitive and inappropriate images, videos, or presentations during meetings and discussion. So, in a face-to-face setting, we cannot discuss anything sensitive or inappropriate, especially in class discussions when we give examples to a certain lesson. While in Google Meet, we cannot post anything sensitive, we cannot post anything inappropriate, we cannot post anything that is inappropriate to age. So we need to be careful when we present our presentation, because this gives the information to every learner, whether in face to face or online. Okay, if anyone has any questions to ask, kindly hit the raise hand button or post a message. So it means to say that while he is listening to any discussion, he's still waiting for him to be called. So when we do that, when we hit the raise hand button or post a message, so we can be able to ask question if can we present or not, ma'am, can I present, pardon, excuse me, or anything that is polite. when we in Filipino, we say, pwede po ba ako magsalita? Maari po ba ako magsalita? But if we refuse to message, we can raise our hand. But nothing to worry about because the host can read our messages and the host can also see the raise hand button. Okay, in ethic number 5, if we are in a Google meeting, we need to make sure that we are in a quiet, conducive environment because if we keep unmuted, however, people around us are noisy or the surroundings, it will be irritating to the ears of the classmates during classes. It will also distract parents during the parent teacher conference because each of the classes and meetings must be kept formal even though the medium is Google Meet, even it is done only in online. So everything should be kept peaceful and conducive to for with due respect with the speaker. So we need to respect with the speaker's presentation. Whether it is pleasing or not, we still need to give respect to the speaker. And another thing, if we are in a noisy environment, it can also cause humiliation. So it means to say that we are not giving the credit to the speaker if we are in a noisy environment. So when I am in class, when I'm having a Google Meet class with my students, I need to make sure that no one is around me in the room. I need to make sure that I am alone. I need to make sure that there are no noises. So the students will be able to hear what I will be discussing and I will be able to hear what my students can answer. So this is also applies to the students and the parents. So I also told my students when they are in the Google Meet that they need to be in a quiet environment and they need to make sure that no one is making noise in any room wherein they are using their Google Meet sessions. Okay, if there is a record button, if possible, we need to record a Google Meet meeting so we can be able to send our meeting in the group chat of the learners even with the parents during in terms of the parent teacher conference as an evidence that we had meetings and we need to prepare screenshots of every Google Meet meeting so the readers will be able to see, or let's say students or parents or whosoever involved in the Google meeting can be able to see what we all had done in the conference or the meeting. Okay, this is very important. Even though we are in online, we need to be calm. We need to make sure that our voice is audible so our learners can speak. So we need to speak in an audible voice when presenting our presentation. So so this is a perfect chance for the presenters to train themselves when they're going to speak if the presenters are too shy in face to face. So however, the proper way is we need to make ourselves professional in terms of our speaking voice. We don't need to shout. We don't need to make our voice very loud because it will be very intimidating for the audience. So we need to make sure that our voice is very loud and clear. So the students will not ask, "Sir, can you repeat this? Sir, I don't get what you say." So it is better for the speakers, whether in meetings, whether in classes, whether in conference, whether in parent teacher conference or for teachers or for administrators, that the speakers must speak slowly but surely, slowly but in an audible voice, so the audience will be able to get informed and they can be able to understand. Okay, in ethic number 8, okay, when opening your camera, as much as possible, we need to wear a presentable attire. Like, let's say in a classroom, students wear their school uniforms while teachers wear their teachers' uniforms when they're going to have a physical face-to-face classes. in Google Meet, usually teachers wear their polos while students wear their school student uniform just to make our classroom formal. So each of them will look presentable and professional. So when I am conducting classes in Google Meet, I reminded my students to wear uniform. However, see before I had no uniform, since I had no uniform before, I usually wear a collared shirt. So honestly, I violated this ethic because I usually wear a round neck t-shirt when I'm having classes because I felt so lazy. But for me, it is not a right ethic. So the best ethic for the presenters to wear is a polo shirt, or let's say a formal attire or semi-formal attire, so he or she can look presentable, especially in online classes, meetings with teachers and administrators, and parents and teachers conference. So I will be going back to each of the ethics. So okay, so the viewers will be able to, so you viewers will be able to understand. So let's recall. So we must keep unmuted when the speaker asks each of us to speak, question, or answer. So to make the flow effective, to make the meeting formal. So if we keep unmuted, then the conversation can be informal. So during my meetings with my colleagues and my students and the parents, if it's not my turn to speak, I keep unmuted. If my students do their activities during the Google Meet session, I keep myself unmuted so I will not be able to disturb them. So being in an online setting is not an excuse for me to disturb anyone. In this ethic too, we avoid any offensive or nonsense language during the discussion and meeting proper. So as much as possible, as a teacher, we need to speak in a modest form. So we need to choose the appropriate words. We need to choose any word that is very understandable to the learner or the parent or with the fellow colleagues. So we need to avoid anything offensive because as teachers, we need to show our care, love, and respect to the parents, students, the colleagues, and the administrators. Okay, so why do we need to avoid any sensitive and inappropriate images, videos, or presentations during the meetings and discussions? Because many of the learners in the high school and elementary setting are minor aged, and and since the school is a place wherein teachers need to be a good role model, so the school is a second home wherein students need to form their values. If you have any questions to ask, kindly hit the raise hand button or post a message. So this is a way of asking permission to the host. So this pays respect in short. Okay. So again, if we are in a Google Meet meeting, we need to make sure that we are in a quiet, conducive environment. So this enables the learners to enjoy learning because they really don't like really noisy environments. They are really irritable. Even some of the parents are also irritable in terms of the environment. So we need to be sensitive to the feelings of others even though we are in online. So here, why do we need to record the Google Meet meeting? Like what I said, it serves as an evidence because some parents can even ask, Sir or ma'am, have you discussed a lesson? Have you taught them how to solve a problem? Have you taught them how to read? Have you taught them, let's say, in any particular skill? So if the parents complain, then the teachers have a Google Meet meeting recorded, then he can show an evidence that he teaches. So recording a Google Meet meeting is very important for the teachers, especially when it comes to unfavorable circumstances and concerns. We need to speak in an audible voice when presenting your presentation because Maintaining an audible and a calm voice represents respect and gentleness. A teacher must be gentle when he presents a lesson. Okay, so in ethic number 8, so since a meeting is meant to be formal, whether face to face or online, we need to be presentable when it comes to wearing our attire. So, thank you. And if you feel to ask, you can ask. So, thank you. And have a great day. Stay safe and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Audric, for that wonderful presentation. The questions, we're going to entertain the questions later in the Q&A part of the program. That is after the quiz competition. Okay? My dear audience, before we proceed to the last and or third presentation, I would like to request everyone, please like, share, and comment. Don't forget to share this live event to your friends. And also write comments and like this live video right now. Okay, for our third presentation, I will be presenting it. Let me welcome myself, Ma'am Marbet R. De La Cruz, one of the volunteer hosts of IGP here from the Philippines. And I am very much sure that most of you are familiar with me already. So I won't be introducing myself so much. Let me just share my screen. Okay, thank you so much, Sir Kamrul. First, I would like to express my gratitude to the Institute of Global Professionals and to its director, founder, Ambassador Kaushik Datta for this opportunity given to me to be one of the speakers for today. Thank you so much, IGP. Thank you so much, Sir Kaushik. It is indeed a great privilege to be part of this international webinar event. Today, I will be sharing with you about the topic, the new breed of teaching strategies, particularly about utilizing Messenger platform in delivering synchronous and asynchronous classes. I'm not quite sure if you are familiar with this one. I hope that everyone will benefit a lot from this topic. But before proceeding to my discussion, I would like to greet IGP a happy anniversary. Thank you so much, IGP, for giving the Global Society an e-learning platform that is accessible and free of charge for the global community. Thank you, and once again, happy founding anniversary to IGP because IGP is celebrating its founding anniversary this month of August. Last year, if you could still remember, we had a diploma certificate as a gift from IGP for its webinar participants. For this year, I think this year has been both a challenging year and a blessed year for IGP. Despite the problem we had with the website, still there are so many people who stayed and believed with IGP. That is, I consider a big blessing from above. Other than that, there are lots of blessings that was poured out in IGP for this year. I'm sure that I am sure that IGP is preparing another surprise for all its well-wishers for this year. So let's just wait for it. Okay? Now, let me proceed with my discussion. Okay. So, I will be discussing with you how to utilize Facebook Messenger in conducting synchronous and asynchronous classes. When pandemic strikes, the entire educational system, including the teachers, were perplexed on how we can keep on educating our learners. We were all baffled whether we can still continue teaching our learners or what will happen. We were anxious on what could possibly happen to our learners if education discontinued for a long period of time. The COVID-19 pandemic created the largest disruption in the educational system in human history. Closures of schools and other learning institutions were impacted more than 94% of world's students' population. Based on the report, learners worldwide were affected by pandemic representing around 1.6 billion children and youth from preschool to higher education in more than 200 countries, and therefore making learning only possible and available from homeschooling has found as the only possible alternative pedagogy since the use of face-to-face learning is not feasible by that time. A variety of alternatives were conceived for remote learning, both in online and digital distance learning. The global education crisis is worse than we ever thought. You know why? First, it has big effect on world's economy because in COVID-19 related school closures, there will be an economic shock which reveals that the impact of pandemic is more severe than expected. Student risk losing trillion of lifetime earnings in present value, or it is about around 14% of today's GDP or gross domestic product, which greatly affect will have great effect both in national and global economy. This is based in the recent The State of the Global Education Crisis, a Path to Recovery report produced jointly by the UNESCO, UNICEF, and the World Bank. So, because of this, they sounded the alarm. The global outbreak was very alarming. The COVID-19 pandemic, which spread worldwide, affected most of all countries and territories. The spread of the virus was so rapid that many countries got out of its control. Lockdown and staying at home were strategies that have been put in place as there were needed action to flatten the curve and control the transmission of disease. There were reduction of business hours and even complete nationwide lockdown followed after a while. Business and industries were paralyzed, including transportation, production of goods, as well as the other services. All the people around the globe were affected. No one were exempted anywhere. Here in the Philippines, the school year 2018-2019 had closed as early as February. The impact of COVID-19 affected the learning during this academic year or even more in the preceding years. As education were on the bench of discontinuation, there was a fear of losing 2020 academic year or even more, but with a joint effort of educational leaders and government institutions, education continued despite pandemic or despite the COVID-19 pandemic, although it affected teaching and learning in different or in many ways. Apparently, this phenomenon drastically altered educational system and modalities the way that never before could be happening in such a way that it is now. Everything that occurred is something that is unprecedented. As we all know, many schools, colleges, and universities have ceased face-to-face teaching. There was a necessity to innovate and implement alternative educational structures and assessment schemes. The instance of COVID-19 pandemic paved the way to different digital learnings, although research highlights certain deficiencies such as weakness of online teaching infrastructures, the limited exposure of teachers to online teaching, the information gap, or non-conducive environment for learning at home, even the academic excellence, and so many others. But these challenges in continuing education during COVID-19 pandemic were subjugated because of the teachers or educators' creativity and collaborative effort in continuing education, despite of those. Instead of Being disheartened, we look for opportunities on how we can continue education and how we can reach out to our learners. We utilize different teaching learning modalities, platforms appropriate for learners' needs. Something needs to be done because unless action is taken, learning losses may continue to accumulate once children are back in school, which will endanger future learning. There were severe learning losses and worsening inequalities in education during this time. The extent of learning loss varies across countries or within countries by socioeconomic status, gender, age, grade level, or even subjects of the students. Children from low-income households and children with disabilities or girls were less likely to access remote learning due to limited availability of electricity, connectivity, device, accessible technologies, as well as discrimination in social and gender norms. Learning losses were said to be greater for students of lower grades. School closures had negative effect on students' mental health and well-being, as well as health and nutrition, and even protection, underlining the vital role which a school play in providing comprehensive support and services to students. As you know, here in school, here in the Philippines, we have the feeding program for our kids to help them nourish. This was stopped because of COVID-19. There were huge transition of teaching learning modalities due to pandemic. Because of sudden closures of schools, it meant that education policymakers, school principals, teachers had to find alternative solutions in order to guarantee children's right in education. With this, there was a rise of digital education. Many systems have adopted online teaching, often in combination with widespread remote learning materials such as the television and radio or the use of learning modules. Many educational systems moved to online activities to allow instruction to continue despite school closures. This will be applied or utilized until everything returned to normal. Considering the alternatives rather than no schooling at all, online schooling has been an important tool to sustain skills development during school closures. That being said, there are still concerns that online learning may have been a less effective substitute for face-to-face instruction, especially so in the absence of access to infrastructures such as the gadget and the lack of adequate preparation among teachers and students for unique demand that online teaching learning pose. At the same time, teachers needed support to incorporate technology effectively into their teaching practices and methods to help students overcome some of the difficulties that are associated with the different forms of learning environment. The Department of Education designed different learning modalities that will fit the learner's need. Since curriculum delivery of modality needed to be tailored, fit, or adjusted based on present scenario to cater the needs of the learners. The affordability and access to these online infrastructures for all the learners varied from economic backgrounds, varied, and it was a big challenge for everyone. There are varieties of online infrastructure that have been prepared by many educational institutions and even initiatives from local government for free access to learning during this time. Many LGUs in Metro Manila here in the Philippines provided tablet and cell phones for public school students. Huge paradigm shift with learning delivery modalities were devised to avoid learning gaps. In the city where I am teaching, the local government unit together with the DepEd officials, they work collaboratively to continue education despite pandemic. They agreed to use Messenger platform as form of distance learning to be used for both synchronous and asynchronous classes. In line with this, the local government unit headed by our city mayor, Menchi Abalos, they distributed cell phones and tablets to all the learners in public schools so that the learners will have something to use for their online classes. What is Messenger? Okay, we all know that Messenger is an instant messaging apps and platforms developed by Meta. In using Messenger, data is not required as long as there is a strong connection signal in your place. It will work well. Here are some questions that may come into your mind right now. Okay, why use Facebook Messenger in synchronous and asynchronous classes? What are the benefits of utilizing Facebook Messenger? Okay, what are the uses of Facebook Messenger in conducting classes? Or how to utilize Facebook Messenger in synchronous and asynchronous classes? First, let's have the things that we needed to prepare. First, of course, just like what I have mentioned a while ago, gadget is very important. And here in Mandaluyong, since we are using Messenger class, all students in public school were provided with tablet. And then another thing that we need to prepare is the Messenger account. And we have to collect all the Messenger account of all our learners. After that, after collecting the Messenger accounts, we need to create a Messenger group chat. And of course, we need the modules or learning materials to conduct classes. And the most important thing that the teacher needs to prepare is the class script. The class script is the outline of conversations or chat messages of everything that the teacher will be using in conducting classes. It must be prepared earlier to save time during class hours. How to start? First, just like what I've said, collect all the FB Messenger account of all the learners according to their section. Then create a GC or group chat for each session. It is important to orient the parents and the learners on how to use the Messenger classroom. What are the features of Facebook Messenger? Let's study this one. Why did we choose, or what is interesting about using Facebook Messenger? Here are some features of the Messenger. Using Facebook Messenger, we can give our classroom rules. We can also check the attendance by asking the students to react in the message that the teacher will be sending, or we could also check the attendance by creating poll. Giving reactions is also one feature of Messenger. Emojis also serve as motivations, and it could also serve as visuals. Use of word effects is very encouraging. It encourages participation from our students. And here are some pictures of Facebook Messenger. Of course, we have the instant messaging, sending emojis as response. We could also utilize it in sending files, presentations, and even links. We could utilize it in sharing photos, videos, and even recordings. And we can create and send voice clip. I hope you're doing that. And I do use this one. I store my data in my Messenger. Okay, let's have a short walkthrough on how to use Facebook Messenger in our synchronous and asynchronous class. Okay, this is the screenshot of my class, of my group chat. Here, as you can see, I have my attendance. And also I have my greetings. I use emoji, Bitmoji in sending my greetings. Then after that, after the greetings, we have our short prayer. Then you could ask the learners to react, to send a reaction once they are done praying. After that, we have our the things needed in class and also the emojis to be used during classes and what do they mean once being used. Here are the things that the children should remember while we are conducting the messenger class. Then I also have here the things that they should avoid doing for the good flow of the lesson. Then before my class, I give them some reminders. And this one is an example of module that can be used in class. Okay, I can send in my group chat, I can send my modules through PNG or JPEG. Here is my greetings and introduction of the lesson. And this is the sample activity that I use. We could also send links for quiz and evaluation. Then this one I have here the asynchronous activity. I have sent my asynchronous activity for that they need to do. Okay. Then after that, I will have my closing remarks or closing message and the link for the modules. Everything can be used. Anything that you want the children to know can be sent through Messenger. Here are some Bitmojis that I use that can be used during classes to encourage children's participation. And did you know that emojis can also be used as learning visuals? All these things can be used as learning visuals, like the fruits, the animals. When you are discussing about animals, you can use all of this. And then the fruit, when you are talking about fruits, you can use all of those. And if you are talking about transportations or the flags, anything, all those emojis can and icons can be used as learning visuals during messenger class. And another thing that I would like you to know that how many things do you think how many emojis are there, right? That we can use in Messenger. How many emojis do we have? So as of September 2021, there are 3,633 emojis. And in 2022, 37 emojis were added. But okay, be careful in choosing emojis because it varies in meaning from one country to another, as to from one culture to another. So we have to be very careful when we are using emojis also. Now, let's see. What are the challenges in utilizing Facebook Messenger in synchronous and asynchronous classes? I will be just giving you two. This is the most common one. The two challenges that we usually encounter are the lack of gadget or broken, or the tablet that has been given to the audience become defective. And another thing that was another challenge is the connectivity issue for both the connectivity issue of the learners. But one good feature that I like most in FB Messenger is the backread. If learners were not able to join the class on time, they can backread all the activities and lessons presented at their convenient time. Isn't that interesting? To, to use Messenger class, GC in both synchronous and asynchronous classes. At first, I didn't think that it was possible until I started using it. Eventually, I started enjoying it. It was useful, effective, and also an effective tool in delivering online classes. Now that the pandemic seems to come to its end and we are now gearing into another phase of education, definitely we are not going back to where it used to be. We are moving forward into another facet of educational system. Some may sort into hybrid, high flex, or blended or limited face to face into or into something else that the future will offer us. But since we have proven ourselves as creative and innovative educators, we are flexible and adaptable. And we have the capacity to recover from difficult life events. The shift in education that we are now facing again is another opportunity for us educators, for us teachers to prove ourselves as resilient educators. With everything being said and discussed from the first speaker to this last part of presentation, this is the most important part that I would like to share to all of you. I think all educators deserve a big round of applause. We did it really great. We did really great. We were able to adjust to the scenario that is beyond unimaginable. Let's keep going, my fellow educators. It is not yet the end of our battle. But let's take our gear as resilient teachers hand in hand. Let's move forward to the future that lies ahead of us. To all teachers, you deserve a thumbs up. And with that, I would like to say never stop learning because life never stop teaching. With this, I would like to thank all of you for lending me your ears and thank you so much, everyone. Well, that ends my presentation. We will now move to the most exciting and the most awaited part of the program, that is the live quiz competition. I am inviting everyone to please go to slido.com for our live quiz competition. Okay, let's enjoy watching this short video. Okay, my dear audience, let me remind you again, don't forget to like and share this event. Tag your friends in the comment box. Remember that your attachment encourages us to do better, and this is to provide you with our best service. Okay, there are already 39 users who have already joined in our live quiz competition. Later, we will give you the e-certificate link in the comment box. If you encounter any problem, you can collect your e-certificate direct from our website, that is www.eduigp.com. Then after collecting your e-certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP by your check-in. Okay, let's have a few minutes. Let's wait for the others to join our live quiz competition. Again, using your browser, go to www.slido.com and enter the code QUIZIGP. We have now 48 users who have joined in our live quiz competition at the moment. Everyone, please join. This will be fun. And as you join, please enter the name that you would like to appear on your certificate. And the certificate of the top 10 winners will be posted in IGP's official Facebook page. That is the Institute of Global Professionals. So we have 53 participants as at the moment. Come on, you still have time. Now we have our first question. There are blank emojis in the Unicode standards as of September 2021. Is it 3,366 or 3,633? It's 50-50, but the correct answer is 3,633. And 50% of the participants answered correctly. On our leaderboard, we have January Cindy, followed by Alan Butas, and then Kiefer Rivera, Emily Cruz, and Ana Janela Madrigal. Next question. When using Facebook Messenger, you can create blank. Is it PPT or poll? What can we create? %72% answered poll, and that is the correct answer. Okay, on the leaderboard, Alan Butas is leading, followed by Emily S. Cruz, then Evelyn Wapuri. On the fourth, we have Marpe Bendulo, and then Aldrin Ray. In creating a group chat, all members need to have a blank Messenger account or Gmail account. Okay, Messenger account is the correct answer. On the leaderboard, Alan Butas is leading, then Aldrin Ray. Next is Kiefer Rivera. Fourth is Emily S. Cruz and Chino J. Jaro. Next question. It is an instant messaging app and platform developed by Meta Platforms. Is it Messenger or Google Meet? The correct answer is Messenger. 80% of the participants answered correctly. On the leaderboard, we have Chino J. Jaro. Next is Emily Cruz, then Alan Butas, and Kelly Ann Buala, and then Ricky Montaño. Next question. What should the students do while the teacher is discussing their lesson in Google Meet? turn on the microphones or turn off the microphone? The correct answer is turn off the microphone. 96% of the participants were able to get the correct answer. And on our leaderboard, Chino J. Charo is leading, followed by Alan Brutas. Next is Emily Cruz. On the fourth, we have Gina Marie Madrugal and Kelly Ann Buala. Question number 6. Which feature allows the teachers to write what they want to discuss? Is it full screen or whiteboard? 91% of the participants were able to get the correct answer, and that is the whiteboard. Chino J. Charo is leading the leaderboard. Next is Alan Butas. Gina Marie Madrugal is on the third, and Kelly Ann Baula on the fourth, and Aldrin R. Ray is the fifth. Next question. Who should be the meeting host, whether in Zoom or in Google Meet? Is it the student or the teacher? The students or the teachers? 95% of the participants answered teachers. And I think that is the correct answer. Yes, that is the correct answer. So still we have Chino J. Jaro on the leaderboard, followed by Alan Butas. Next is Gianna Marie Madrugal. Next is Kelly Ann Buala, and then Aldrin Ray. Next question. Question number 8. Which of the following is an example of an asynchronous task? Is it project or recitation? Okay, 84% of the participants answered project. That is the correct answer. And on the leaderboard, we have Alan Butas. Next is Chino J. Charo. Next is Kelly Ann Baula. On the fourth, we have Ricky Montana. On the fifth, we have Gina Marie Madrugal. Gianna Marie Madrugal. Question number 9. What should a participant do first when he wants to ask question in Google Meet or in Zoom? Is it send message or turn on microphone? Okay, the correct answer is send message. Alan H. Brutas is leading our leaderboard, followed by Gino J. Jarrod, then Kelly Ann Bola. Next is Gina Marie Madrigal, and then Ricky Montano. Last question. It affords you the ability to show your students anything you want, learning platform or online learning environment. Okay, the correct answer is online learning environment. Only 48% of the participants were able to get the correct answer, and congratulations to all the winners. On our leaderboard, we have Alan H. Butas, followed by Gina Marie P. Madrigal. Next is Ricky Montano. Next is Evelyn Waperi, and then Richard Senyodoza. Sixth place, we have Marbeth de la Cruz. Next is Tino J. Jaro. On the eighth place, we have Ana Madrigal. Next is Rose Bada, and next Kelly Ann Buala. On the 10th, congratulations to the top 10 winners. I've seen a question here. You'll be, for all the winners, you will receive your quiz completion certificate in a little while. It will be posted in IGP's official Facebook page. Again, congratulations. I have seen a comment here from Guanarudun Daud. Why I can't join the quiz next time, sir? Please, using your browser, go to www.slido.com, then enter the code that will be flashed on the screen. Okay, because sometimes the joining link is not working properly. So I will just advise you to, next time when you want to join the live quiz competition, go to www.slido.com, then enter the code flash on the screen. At this moment, we will now move to the most awaited part of the program, that is the Q&A portion. But before that, my lovely audience, let me remind you once again, don't forget to like and share this event. Tag your friends in the comment box. Thank you so much for your support. And then you may start sending your questions now. Meanwhile, let's enjoy watching this short video. Can we play the video now? Okay, let's welcome back our speakers for today, Sir Adric and Sir Ricky, and yours truly. Before that, I would like to congratulate Richard Suyod for making it to the top 5 in our live quiz competition. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, you may start sending your questions now. Okay, I have here a question for both of you while we are waiting for the questions from the audience, Sir Otik and Sir Ricky. Why is it, which do you prefer to use? Is it the online teaching or the face-to-face teaching? Sir Otik, let's start with you.
For me, it really depends on a certain situation. If there are students who have poor internet connection, then I would prefer a face-to-face setting because not all students have the privilege to access the internet due to their low financial levels, and some of them cannot afford to buy a Wi-Fi. So I wouldn't mind having a face-to-face. However, when it comes to, let's say, students who have good internet connection, then I would prefer online because online is convenient and we don't need to spend a lot of money for the transportation for us to have classes, for us to teach the students, and we do not need to buy too much books and notebooks, so we can just prepare everything. So it really depends on a certain situation for me, actually.
Okay, thank you, Sir Audrey. How about you, Sir Ricky?
Okay. So, well, in a country like Philippines, I'd prefer to have classroom setup because of the different constraints that we might experience if we were pushed for online classes. However, Sir Odrick is right that for those students who can afford for a very very good stable internet connection, then they can do so. They can enroll or they can have the online class. But for those students, I guess it's a majority of the population, especially in our place, that they cannot afford to have that very good stable internet connection. So with that, different problem may arise in the middle or while implementing online classes. So I suggest, I mean, I am convinced that we should go with the classroom setup, but provided that we should not neglect or we should not forget the online environment, like the online classes also.
Okay.
They can somewhat like they can have classes online too.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Ricky, for that answer. We have our first question here in from Richard Suyod Senyodoza. In Google Meet, how many hours is the time limit for one session? Sir Audrey, do we have time limit for one session when we are using? You are Sir Ricky, Sir Audrey, I think you are muted. I can't
I'm so
hear you.
sorry. So, in normal Zoom meetings nowadays, we are given 40 minutes to have a session with a single or individual. However, in Google Meet, it doesn't matter how long. So, it is up to us if we're going to have a meeting, let's say within 30 minutes, within 1 hour. Because when I have classes with my students, the average time I usually conduct classes is 45 minutes because not all students can really pay attention in Google Meet since they have other works to do, such as being a working student, such as doing other tasks, since some students do not normally focus on a certain thing. They just exploring things like what we say. That's why we need to consider their individual differences. That's why that however to be frankly honest, anytime it I can there's no time limit for one session in Google Meet. There's no time limit.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Audrey. Do you have more questions from the audience? Okay, let's see. Okay, we have a question from Ma'am Evelyn Waperi. Oh, first we have Ellie Rose Badada. Can we access again the records features in Google Meet? Yes. Can we access the record feature in Google Meet right now, right at the moment? Can you answer that, Sir Audrey, or would you like me to answer it?
For me, I used my DepEd Google account in my Google Meet. I couldn't access the record feature. So so for in my case, I couldn't access.
I think early this year, the recording feature of the Google Meet was stopped for some reason, so we do not have that anymore this year. But there are things that you can do if you want to record your Google Meet. Like for example, you can use another apps other than the you can use the what's that screen recording, and I wish to discuss and share with you all about that in some other meetings on how we can record our Google meetings. But as of the moment, I could not discuss that further. But this time we cannot record the Google meeting as of the moment. Next question is from Mom Evelyn Wapere. I would just like to answer this briefly. Is Messenger and Facebook chat the same? Yes, that they are the same. Okay, that completes the Q&A part for today on behalf of the whole IGP team. Together with all the participants for this session, Sir Ricky and Sir Aldrich, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for all the valuable knowledge that you have shared to us tonight. Thank you so much for sparing your time with us. Thank you so much, Sir Audric, and thank you so much, Sir Ricky. No single word is enough to express our gratitude. Thank you so much. Okay, do you have any final words to say, Sir Ricky?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Actually, I'd like to butt in with the questions like, um, can we access the record feature of the Google Meet? Yes,
It's
of
the
course.
recording feature.
Yes,
No,
we can access, but we need to pay for a plan because on my part, I paid for a plan, and I can
oh,
record
okay, okay.
the Google Meet session. So you need
Yes,
to pay for a specific like annually for a plan because they have upgraded the feature. Like it's no longer free. It's if you want to avail for the record feature, you need to pay for the plan for it. And I think I've paid like around 3,000 I think annually for that. So you need to have a license for a plan in order for you to record the feature. I mean, in order for you to avail the feature, the record feature of the Google Meet. So with that, thank you so much, and I hope you have learned something from our talk and from our sessions this evening. Thank you, everyone.
thank you, Sir Ricky. I also missed that. We have to upgrade our account. Yes, that's true, and that is correct. We need to upgrade our account so that we can access the recording feature because as of the moment, it is no longer free. Okay, thank you so much again, Sir Ricky. Sir Audric, do you have any parting words for our audience? I'm losing my voice now.
I just want to thank the Institute of Global Professionals for giving me another opportunity to present my part and to impart my knowledge in using the Google Meet. So it's such an honor to be a speaker for this event. So I would like to greet this institution happy second anniversary. So congratulations, IGP. More blessings to come and more projects to come. So God bless you and more power.
Okay, thank you, Sir Ricky. Thank you, Sir Audric. Thank you so much. To all the participants who actively participated in the Q&A part, thank you so much for all the questions. I hope you have gained huge understanding of today's webinar. Thank you so much for the time that you have spent with us. To my fellow knowledge seekers, I would like to thank all of you for attending today's session. Let me thank all of you for being so patient and active and attentive all throughout the webinar. Hopefully, you have learned something new today that will be useful in your life. If you have learned something new or we have been helpful to you even just in a little bit, please leave a review on our page. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our Facebook page, Facebook group, and YouTube channel. Please spread the information about IGP to your friends and to your colleagues and even to your different communities that you are using, the social media that you are using. Okay, we will proceed to the certification process now. Okay, our code for today is IGP2390. Remember, our code for today, please take a screenshot of that. Our code for today is IGP2390. Don't forget to collect your e-certificate after the session. and give a check in with IGP. You may collect it from our website or through the link mentioned below. Our code again is IGP2390. The date today is August 2. Okay? To collect your certificate, please go to www.eduigp.com. Make sure to log in using your account. Then after, or if you are just new, please create an account. Then click free webinars. Choose today's webinar date and title, and then click the bar enroll now. Once you get enrolled, enter the code for today. Then click the bar get your certificate. Your e-certificate will be auto downloaded to your device. Remember, our code for today is IGP2390. Thank you so much, everyone. And to the IGP CSR team and IGP facilitating officers who have been with us, thank you so much. To all the IGP Free International webinar participants, thank you so much for your unwavering support and for staying with us. Thank you for your active participation and engagement. Thank you for your heartwarming messages. Remember, IGP is always here to render you our best service. To the team IGP, good job everyone, and for another successful live session. This has been a worthwhile and rewarding event for all of us. We hope to see you all again in our upcoming webinars that will be tomorrow morning. And remember that all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose. Thank you so much. Stay happy and stay safe. Again, this has been your host, Marbeth from the Philippines, signing off. To God be the glory. Bye. Bye, everyone.